Hello, hello. In this video, I'm going to try to implement a little bit of Passport on a React application using Byte and Express as the backend. Basically, this is application I'm making for my class. And then what we want is to have like a basic Passport local implementation, but running locally, like on a Mongo database. Okay, so it will be something like this. This is kind of a bake that I made for my previous class. And then what we are going to be doing is following the Passport tutorial. If you come here on the documentation for Passport.js, we are following this username and password authentication, which is designed for server-side rendering, but we are going to be doing it for client-side rendering using React. So to get started, we are going to continue from this code base that I have in here. Let me stop all of this so we don't get into any errors. And basically, I'm just going to start a new terminal. I have yet another one open in there, so let's terminate that one. Once again, start a new terminal, make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to go to the desktop, and what I'm going to do is just to clone this one. I'm going to clone it into photo sharing. I already have a passport, so let me call it passport 2, which is the one that I was just working just minutes ago. Okay, so let's go on, open that, close all of my Visual Studio codes, and open Visual Studio Code in here. So that's going to be like a starting point, but we also need to compile it, or rather to install the dependencies for that. And we are going to be installing the dependencies for the backend, which you can do with npm install. Very important, in the same folder that we just cloned. So make sure that after cloning, that you are getting into that specific folder as we just did in here. So when we do that, it's going to be actually installing the dependencies also for the front end and building the front end, which is done in React. By the way, that front end, which is on this folder, this is the way I like to organize my projects. It's I generate a backend folder usually with Express Generator, although recently I have been taking that code and updating it very heavily so it can use ES6 modules. And then I create using Byte and the React template a front folder as this one that we are seeing in here. And basically on that one, we want to have all of the React application. And that React application, we can compile it as a static application, or a static React application. And you can do that, as you can see in this package.json, which is the one in the front folder, just using npm run build, which is basically the same than just running byte build. Okay, that will generate this folder. That is the one that we are using in the Express application in here. So I actually explained all of that in another video that I posted before. I can link in here in this one as well. Okay, so having done that, okay, so if you want to run this, then you can just, having installed the dependencies, you can just run npm start. And when you do that, that is going to start the backend server. So we are actually going to have two servers. This is the backend server, and this is the current version that we have of the application. It is connecting to a Mongo database. You already have the database running. If you are running it for the first time, then basically you can also run an npm run initdb, which is just going to be doing a Mongo import from some JSON data that we have in a DB folder that is going to initialize your Mongo database. It assumes that you have your Mongo database running, and so far and so forth. What else? So once you have that, then you can start running that. However, I don't recommend you working directly on this application, because this is the one that you can have ready for deployment. And because of that, it uses the compiled version of React. So the thing is that if you come here in the front and then we start modifying these, and let's say, for instance, that, I don't know, like in my navigation bar, I wanna, where is my navigation bar? Here it is. So in the layout, I wanna add like maybe another link for the login. Then let's say for instance something like this, and I wanna add a link that takes me to the login page, which is going to be like basically the first thing we are going to do in the demo. Notice that we are using React Router, so that's why we are creating the links with the link component, which is coming from React Router. So if you want to do that, if you save here and then you refresh, this one is not going to update. You will need to go and recompile. And in order to do that, you can, let me open another terminal, then you can go into the front, which is the React project. And then in that one, I'm going to be running, not npm run dev, but npm run build. And when I do that, that is going to generate a new version of the React in a static folder. Then I can refresh that, and then now you can see the login. Okay. So if you want to avoid having to do that, and you just want to keep on developing and adding more stuff nicely, then what you can do is that in that same front folder, so remember, so we are here, this is where we clone. So if you go into that front folder and you run npm run dev, that basically is going to start the Vite server for the React folder. So with that, you need to have these two servers running, okay? The backend and the front end. And then let me put them up and down so we can see them in case there's an error. And then instead of working in the port for the front, for the backend, you can be working on the port for the front end. And the beauty of this is that if I go and I do stuff here, then that gets immediate responses. Okay, so very important. So, having said that, let's get started following this. So this tutorial is quite nice. Like, I find Passport very powerful, but at the same time a little bit complicated. So let's try to see how we can make it work. Basically, you can get to that once again if you go to the Passport page, go into documentation, and then we go into username and password, and they start defining what are the steps. Basically, they recommend you to start with this code, but that again, it's going to be using server-side rendering and EGS, I think. So we want to do this with React. So in this case, we are going to try to mimic what they do, but not add everything exactly. So they're cloning, they're getting to the folder, that's fine. They did npm install, we already did something similar. So let's go to the next one. So the next one, they want us to start creating a route. So we can go and do that. We also have these routes folder, so we can create a new file in here, and we can call it out.js. So this is going to be a new route. And then we can basically just copy and paste this code. We are going to heavily change that. First, I'm going to run my prettier with my configuration. I like double quotes. Second, we shouldn't be using var. But in this case, basically the most important is that we should be, like in this project, we are using ES6 modules. So like basically all the imports work like this. Then, as I say, we should be using var, we should be using const and let, which are cooler and more hipster. And also because it also has nicer features in terms of the scope and how things are. And the way we export things in here, it's with export and not anymore that. By the way, I'm running Copilot in here, so you're going to see that thing speaking and generating a lot of code. So far, so good. So we have this part, and then this is the other key. So basically what this thing is saying is that this is going to be rendering the login template, so that it's server-side rendering. We are not going to have that. So actually what we have in here, this is not going to work for us. Instead, what we need to have is that we need to implement that in React, because that is the way that we are controlling all of the views routes, okay? Sadly, I don't have a video for how to do React Router. I did that in the class, and I cannot share that one. But basically here in the front, what we have is that we have a structure. This is the React code. Here in the main.js file, you can see that we are using React Router DOM. This is the main file, and then this is something I just added recently in order to be able to use some context, so I can show messages in there. And then here we have our routes. So if I want to add a route, in this case in React Router, like there we go. So Copilot kind of knows what to do. Oh, I actually like that final suggestion. this one. I should put that if it, like any other one, then it should be doing this one. So I like that one. Though probably we don't need it because of this one. In any case, so we are going to the login page, and basically what I want to do in there is just render a new page called login page. So I can go and do that one just by creating, like following the same standard that we have been doing with the other pages. I can go and create a new page. In this case, let me actually be very lazy and maybe copy and paste. Do I need use router? Yes, perfect. Yeah, or I can start from scratch. Let me go and do a new page, and I'm going to call it login page.jsx. And then what I'm going to do in there is that I'm going just to create a function that says the login page. And what this one is supposed to be doing, it's just to create like a login page, like something like this. I can export default that. And then in here, that should be it, I think, at least for having like one basic one. So if I come in here, now you can see it's showing the login page. I do have a nicer structure that you can see here. Basically, the whole idea, the error page shows just in a more concise way. So basically, I just import the base page, and then I render that, and whatever content I want, I put that inside that. So we can do that in the login page as well. So in this case, I'm going to import this page, good work, Copilot, and then I can just put here my base page, and that wasn't smart, Visual Studio, prettier, and then we go. So now it looks nicer in here. And then if we want to show, like basically we keep on seeing on the tutorial, yes, this part I am going to need, yeah, but the one I wanted to see is this one. So I can actually come to this one and then put that inside my login page. However, you have to be careful because when copying HTML, that is different from JSX. So something I liked from the new documentation on React, it's that they reference a converter that I always forget. So let me see if I find it quickly. Yes, perfect. I did this in class, so you can see it in there. So if you go here into the Learn React, this is writing markup in JSX. They explain how JSX work, blah, 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 and all of those things. And then they say, here it's a converter. And then you can go and say, if you put, you can edit this one. So I guess I want to go from, where if I want to go the other way around? Oh, yes. Oh, actually, yes. I want to go from HTML to JSX. So if I do that, then I just need to copy this. But in this case, let's go and do it by hand. So I do have the sign in, and then I can just go and add this element in here, make sure that this one finishes. Can also do the same one for this one. Then Visual Studio is quite smart for that, so it reminds me that all the 4s should be camel case, so it should be HTML4. Then autocomplete is going to be the same thing, so actually it should be autocomplete. And while we are at it, this one should be out of focus, but which, by the way, I didn't know existed. That's quite interesting. I wonder if it works with accessibility. That's kind of nice. In any case, so I have this page now, and if I go back to my application, now it's starting to look better. Now, since we are using Bootstrap, if we go to the documentation of Bootstrap, I actually just realized that there is this examples page where you can go and see some basic snippets of code that you can use. So I want to use this one here. So basically I'm going to see what is the page source for this. Will this be the best way of doing it? I guess it should be. So I like the, I wonder, like, hopefully, yes, this seems to be for the theme. So I want to give this one a try and see what are the styles things that they're using. So they're using a logo in case you want to use that. I don't think I need that one, but so let's leave that in there. And then basically for each one of these, they're saying that it's a form floating, and then the other one's a form controls. So let's start moving those things. So we do have these with 2 sections. I think I can put it in there, and then I'm going to say that this one, it's going to be a form floating. Oh, that one existed in there. I love that every time I'm teaching these things, I'm learning new stuff. And then this one I knew this is going to be a class name. So actually let me do that for the other one as well. Maybe this way. So I'm going to do class name equals, and this form label, I think it's, oh, the other one doesn't have it. I think it should be form label. And then the other one should be the form control, and we can do that with these ones. So I can just put in here form, class name, form control, and what else? Yes, the button. So the button should be type submit, and then we also should do class name. And then we can say this is going to be a button primary, and then interesting. I like that. So let me see. So 100 width, and then that should be padding on the y-axis up to. Then prettier, and then sign in. There is a copyright, but I don't know if I want that. What else? And it also has like a margin auto in here, which I kind of like. So let's see if we can use that in there. So I guess we can wrap all of these with that margin auto, and form sign in. I wonder if that is like a bootstrap thingy, so, or if it is just for this specific one. We'll see in a second. So let's go and see how this is looking. So it's kind of going in there, like it's very, it seems like I made a lot of mistakes in here. Like for instance, this, it's supposed to be a form control, so that. Good, perfect. So we have the username and the password. I like that it's putting it inside. I don't like that I cannot, that it's not disappearing when I do that, so probably I still need another thing. It does have a placeholder. I like that idea. And this is for the email address, or in this case it's a username. So I can put in here like just something that says username, and then label for floating input. Okay, so maybe instead of using form label, I should have used floating input. Let's see if that fixes that. So as you can see, I like doing these ones without having to come with a predefined script. So you can see me either searching or changing elements. So we'll see how it goes. So we did that one. For that one, I forgot for this other label. I think they also have it in after the form. So and I need to have this in a form floating. So I wonder if I have to change all these sections. Sorry. I think it's this one. So this is supposed to be this. Let's try it. That helps. That's not it. And then I have the main. Of course, they had all of these, but yeah, I don't think that needs to be completely necessary there. Let me make sure like I'm going to be very lazy here, and then just go into this converter, then use this one just to see if that kind of works in here. Yes, it looks better. So yeah, so I guess I'm going to go the lazy way and then just use Bootstrap once and then actually do it the other way around. And then just actually make sure that all of the elements that I have in here, so in this case, this is supposed to be the logo, so that one I'm going to get rid of. I guess this one, and then please sign in. Good, perfect. So, and then finally going back to the tutorial link here, so we don't spend more time on that. We can make sure that the name is username. So we are okay. Oh yeah, shame on me. So it should be just the label and then floating, blah blah blah, from control, like probably because I was getting that. So in this case, I am not going to be using email. I'm going to be using username, and then here username, I guess. And yes, that is one of the keys of this, is that it's very important that the input have a name, like each one of the inputs in the form have a name, because that's how we are going to be collecting the data on the other side. So for instance, this one should have a name, password. It's kind of like a bot thing that people from Bootstrap didn't add that. That seems quite intuitive. I'm not going to be using this checkbox, so I'm going to be deleting that one so we can have that in there. And I'm not sure if I like this proprietary stuff thingy. Okay, good. So now we have that, and that seems good enough to me. And then back to this, where is it? Here. So basically, the form that we are creating, this is very important. It's supposed to be going into the login password and then on the post. Now, something we saw in class is that since we are going to be sending this to the backend, the way we have it configured right now in Vite and Express is that all of our endpoints in the backend are preceded by the API, like something like this. So in order for me to access and make sure that that URL, it's actually going to be going to the backend, because basically I need to go to the backend to validate if that user exists. I'm going to put it into an API. Okay. So doing that, yes, and I have the method posting here. This main is kind of weird in there, so let me, just for the sake of it, replace it for a div. And then let me do that one. Then it says with this, so I want to have this a little bit more like that. So probably I'm missing one of these ones in here. The example media placeholder size, nav scroller, but primarily this is just change the color. Display, I wonder what else. Oh, probably is because line item set. I wonder if I can put this one not in the body, but on this one. And I promise this is the last thing I change in here. Nah, okay, good, perfect. So I'm going to leave it like this because we can change like the statics before, like later actually. So basically what I want is that when I click on this one, that is going to be sending us to the backend. So I can go, oh, that's beautiful. I like how it does that thing. And then when I go here, oh yes, this is validating as if it were a password. So this is a form control placeholder. This is of type username. I guess it does. Is that even a type? I probably don't think it's a type. So let me try if this MDN input type. Input type. So we have button, checkbox, date, email, file, hidden, image, number, password, range, reset, text time URL. Yes, definitely. There is no this one, so I'm going just to call it input text, right? So yes, it's an input text. Okay, so wait that, then hopefully this will work, and then basically that is sending there, and it's sending that it's not fine. But let's try to continue from here. So basically the next thing they also ask us to do, which makes a lot of sense, is that remember that we were creating this out. So right now it doesn't have any routes. Probably we are going to create the post, but it is very important that I import it in here, which is what they're saying in here. So we are going to be importing this one, and I'm importing that in there, and I'm going to append that in here. So this is going to be my out router. Okay, good. So we have that, and then basically let's go to the next step. So in the next step, we install Passport and Passport Local. Very important in here. I'm going to do that in the backend. So you have the backend in the front. Remember that is the root folder. I'm going to import this. I'm going to set it into my configuration. So that's the -- save in there. And then I'm going to start this server again. Notice that when I do that one, it is going to add that as a dependency in here. Very important in this structure that I have the configure, like there is two configurations, one for the backend and one for the front end, not to be confused. It's actually a little bit complicated, but this one, the one that it's in the front folder is the one for React, and the one that it's outside is the one for Express. That's where we want to have Passport. So the next thing that they want us to do is that they want us to start configuring all the Passport stuff for Express. So the way we can do that, there is multiple ways, but let's start maybe putting it in here. Maybe we will remove it into a separate file later. So we already have Express. I do want to import Passport from Passport, good work, Copilot. And then I'm going to be doing sessions later, but now Copilot, don't get ahead of yourself. So I'm going to be using a local strategy from Passport Local, good work, Copilot. And then I'm also going to be importing crypto from crypto. And I'm not sure, but just in case, I'm going to say crypto here as a dependency. I'm not sure if it's included in Express or something. Probably it was because it doesn't seem to have added anything, but in any case, let's put it in here. And then we start creating our strategy. Okay, so the strategy is kind of like, I find it like to be one of the most complicated parts of Express, or Passport rather. And then basically what you want to do is that I'm going to call it here strategy. Like actually, let's call it my strategy. And then the way you do that is, as you can see down here, is that you have to create a new local strategy, which is the file or the import that we made from Passport Local. This local strategy takes as a parameter a function that we can call it verify or whatever we want, and then this one is going to have the username, it's going to have the password, and it's going to have a callback that we can call CV. And then the whole idea of this, if you go and take a look at this code, this seems a little bit confusing, but basically the whole idea is that you receive three things. So the first one is going to be like if there is an error. So basically this is going to be error. The second one, it's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, the user, the actual user. So in this case, let's start by saying, I don't know, like maybe I found the user. So I'm going to say that is the user that we found. In this case, yes, this could be. So this is the user object that I want to handle to the front end. And then finally, I think this is like, yeah, good work, Copilot. Like these are like extra information. Like, for instance, in this case, you can see that when they are returning this one is because the user was authenticated. If you That is if you pass an object in the second parameter. If you don't pass the object, like in this case, so let me write the 3 types of ways that you can make this work. So in this case, this is what you are supposed to call. We found the user, or like user authenticated. User found and authenticated. Okay, so and let's start with this for the moment, and we can explain the other ones later. And then after that, we want to tell Passport that this is the strategy that we are going to be using. And you can see that that is the next thing that they do in here. So they actually say we want to use Passport use of this local strategy. So feel free to put this inside that, right? Just for pedagogy. I'm separating it into a new variable. Okay. The next thing they have is that they want us to create the route that will take the post, and that is going to come in here. So we didn't have the get posts, like the get routes, but we have this one, and we can also import, come on, shame on you, Copilot, there we go. So, and then now we have this one. Now remember, our APIs are going to be under API, just for the way that I have this configured. Like you can try configuring in a different way, which like /login or something like that, I don't know. In this case, this way I can make sure that there are no conflicts between React Router and Express routing. Okay. Basically what this is saying is that using Passport, I'm going to try to authenticate locally. So every time I receive a message like or a request for this one, that is going to go into my strategy. Okay. It's going to go into my strategy. Let's go and put in here console log, like, I don't know, local strategy. Yes, you shouldn't do this, especially because this is going to show your password like in a real development. But once again, for just to testing if things are working, then let's go and do it like this. Okay. And then they ask us to restart, and then they ask us to write a password, and then let's continue. So let's go how this is looking now. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to write like HDFF, and then you can see the backend and the front end. And when I click on this one, I get an error. Yes, it is telling me that I need to have session, which is what the tutorial says. But you can also see that it's printing this local strategy. Okay. So basically, I'm just calling that, and then that is where I'm supposed to be doing the authentication. But let's continue with the tutorial. So the next thing is establishing a session. So let's try that. So this is going to be interesting. I'm going to try to see if the connect Mongo part works. And for those of you that are taking my class, this is the point to where we made it in the class. So the first thing is that I'm going to install Express Session. Express Session. And this is going to allow us to keep like a variable between connections of the client. So in the backend, we are going to have what we call a session, and basically that session is that, like for instance, so the user doesn't have to authenticate every time they send something new. Okay, so every time they do anything in there, like if I just close the browser and come back, I still should be authenticated unless I go and say logout. Okay, that is what the session does. I know there is another one for connect Mongo, but I'm going to just give it a try without that, and then maybe add it later in case I need that. And then basically I want to do Express Session in here, which I think I'm not doing yet, and that's actually what Copilot wanted to do. And we want to do that in this app file in here. Where am I doing Passport here? So I'm going to import session from Express Session. Okay, so actually let me go and check that very quickly, because I remember seeing messages that some of those things are deprecated and things like that. Yeah, this looks good. Then probably we are going to need to do something like this. Okay, so if we continue in there, they do have an option of storing the session in the database. So I'm going, as I said, I'm going to skip that for the moment. And then we are going to add this one in here. That is the one that creates the session. And then this part. So basically after creating our passport strategy, and they're doing it even down here. So let's go and do it around here, but it's after defining those elements. Going to have this one in here, the secret. I'm going to say John loves data or whatever this visualization. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. So just this has to be like a random string or something that you're creating. It has to be different from each one of those. And then I'm not going to have the store, so I'm going to keep this open, especially because like I'm not going to be doing SQL. I think this save initialize is the one. Oh, look at that. Like this is actually providing me documentation. It's not modified, so let me actually see how they're doing it here. Oh, look at this. So I'm going to try to do it like this. Instead of saving it into the database, I'm going just to use cookies. So I like that. So I'm going to do it like that, and then I hope the last part doesn't break things. Can configure password to persist user information in the login session. Okay, good. And then this is the final important thing. And needs that, and actually I think I'm going just to copy and paste this and then just explain what these ones do. So basically what these ones are supposed to do, as you can see in here, is that you can configure passport to persist the user information in the login session. So what we are doing in there is that we have these two methods. One is when the user just logged in, and then we want to store that user information into the session. This is how it gets stored. So basically it's going to be serializing the user, and then once again we have another callback, and we are just going to be providing like the user ID and the username, not the password. So that is not going to get into the cookie, so to avoid that. And then the deserialization, it's going to be taking the user out of the cookie or the session, and then just return that, as you can see in here. Good. So I hope we don't need to change much of that, and then we can try signing in, and then let's see if it works. So let's come back in here, and then I can do that one, and then that one, and then page not working. Probably my server is not running. You can see that, like that error that I saw in there. So let's come back here, and then as you can see, I just logged in. And the way that you can see if it logged in is that, as you can see, like this one, run the local strategy. Remember that the local strategy we have right now, it's very stupid. The only thing it is doing is just receiving username and password. You can see that I got the ASDFF in there, ASDFF. I don't know how to say that in English. And then I'm just saying, yes, the user is authenticated. We're going to see the other cases in a minute. And then there comes the next thing, and is that now I should have that in my session. Okay, and that's where we need to check if that's happening. Wonder what do they say in here. Oh, do they create a specific view or something? Okay, let me see. Then we can add a sign out. Yeah, but for the moment, let me check that it is working. The way we check that it is working is that once you're using the session and you're using that, if I'm not mistaken, and then we can try to see if this works, it's that like in every route that you have in the back end, you are supposed to be able to get where is the current user. Okay, so let's go and say that this is API photos, and then the user is going to be the good request user. Okay, so once I do that, this is going to restart the server, which is going to kill the sessions. Probably that's why they want us to store it in the database. So when we do that, then you can see that the first time is running, and when the React code requests the photos, it's telling it that it doesn't have a user. Okay. And if I go and do the login and then do this thing, send whatever, and I send that again, I still don't have a user, so I probably need to do something else for my session to I wonder, let me see here in the documentation for this one, if they give us something else. Probably I'm missing like another step or something. Resave, working using use session. Did I do that? I don't recall. I did use this one, and I have the password authenticate session. So there is there. Am I missing something? API photos. So let me try refreshing this one. It's still giving me the same undefined in here. So let me check this one. So we are having a problem. So let's. What about the request session? Okay, I think I see that is authenticated. Like, what about this one? Do you have any documentation on that? So what do you have here? Request is authenticated. Interesting. So yeah, let me try this one for the moment. Oh, and then I think a problem could be. Oh no, but I'm passing these ones after using that, so that is not the problem. I wonder if I need to establish these ones before the other ones in there, so that would be another reason. So I have that in there, and then, oh, look at that, finally. Oh no, the user is still empty, and then secure, I don't know. So let me try once again to log in and see if that changes. So this is the current cookie that we have. It's saying that it's login. So I think I am missing something else in here. What could it be? I wonder. Yeah, I don't want to have to store it into the database. Let me see in the documentation. So one of the things that we can use as a reference is that this is the strategy that we're using, passport local. And I do have that, and then we do have, yes, so that's supposed to be returning the user. We are doing the authenticate, failure, data, blah, blah, blah. And then something that I don't like is that they have this code in here, but tends to take you into a page not found. But if you go into this one, then they do have in there, here is my local strategy session equals false. Am I doing that? I'm creating the local strategy. Oh, look at that. So I can actually pass available options. So good. So I can either pass it like that, or I guess that one is assuming that it's going to use the session. And then let me go and take a look at this example that they have in here. And here it's how they're authenticating. That seems very similar to what I have. Process next. Open API. Yeah, that one is not important. And then login password. I guess this is for changing the password. Out, sign up. Good, perfect. So we can come back here, and then here we are creating passport in here. This is the one that I'm omitting, so probably I hope that is not what is killing us in here. Then they have the cookie parser, then they have the express static, and then right after that they have this one, don't create session until something's told. Don't save session if modify. I wonder if that resave should be something else. Don't do that, browser. And then So I do have the session and then the documentation here. They are also using that cookie secure. Required option. That is too many things in there. Session store information, store all. What could be my problem? It should be. Oh, let me. By the way, I did see that other thing in here that Visual Studio was recommending. I actually haven't used that. Let's give it a try just to see if it is just maybe I'm missing something else. Something like this. That's supposed to be doing the authentication. And then you can see that this one is still saying that it's not there. I wonder if I can see anything here. Console, network, sources, performance. It's my storage. Performance component, blah, 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 security, memory, maybe is what they're calling it now. No, that's not it. Sources, console, memory. Okay, good. So I'm going to go and search what's happening and then come back. Good, perfect. So I found error. So basically what's happening is that here this save uninitialize. It's supposed to be on false, and probably we don't even need this cookie, at least to some code that I had before. So if I refresh that, then basically when I do this one, then you can see that now when I go into API photos, there is an user variable that contains what is the username, what is the ID for that user. So you can see that the first time I go there, that thing doesn't exist. And then afterwards it exists in there, and it actually gets stored in there as also in like in the session, in the passport information. Okay, so having done that, then basically let's get rid of this. We don't need that. And then the other thing I'm not very happy with, it's like let's put this authenticate after making sure that we define like everything just in case that we get an error. So the thing is that the next step will be they're saying that we can do, I wonder that we can do the sign out, that is this one, and then I sign up. But before doing that, I want to be able to show in here that we actually have authenticated. So instead of showing the login, I want to show what is the current user that it's being connected. So in order for doing that, it's a tricky thing that we need to do in React. So let me show you the way I do it. I'm not sure if it is the best way, but it's the way I do it. So as I was saying, like here in my index, I was looking at what is the current user. So let me get rid of that for the moment. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create another route in here. So I'm going to do a router get, which is going to be /API and then get user. And then go to our Copilot, just screwed up Copilot like this one. And then what I'm going to send in there, yes, I like that. Can you try again, Copilot, please? Yes. Good, perfect. So yes, I like it better before. So I am going to say here is the current user, and then this is going to be the current username. So basically what this is going to do is that it's printing the console that we are getting a request for the user, and then I'm going to take a look at what is the current user. This is not always going to exist, so I'm going to put this question mark in here that it's a syntax from the latest versions of JavaScript. And what that is going to do is that if this thing exists, then it's going to return that, and if not, it's going to return null, I hope. And then basically this API is going to help me know what is the current logged in user. So if I go into localhost 3000, /API/get user. Like this one tells me what is the current user, and I was expecting to get like a user object, but in any case, let's go with that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is that I am going to show that in the interface. So the way of doing that, it's a little bit tricky. So, but I'm just thinking of an idea that could be interesting to have. And it's that, remember that we are showing that in here. So we can have this login. So let's go and say that, yes, that I'm going to put this into a component called login or user or login component or something. Link, maybe, something like that. So basically what this login link is going to be, it's that it's going to be import login link authentication. Now let's go and put it into components, and then I'm going to call it login link. Okay, and then what that one is going to do in there, I'm not sure if that is the perfect place, but let's go and do it there. Login link.jsx. It's that I'm going to create the function. Here is my login link, and then I'm just going to return this thing. Okay, so export default base, and then we are going to import yes link from React Router DOM. Good work, Copilot. And then what? No, you're crazy. Shut up, Copilot. You're drunk. Okay. So the key in here is that what I want to do is that I want to check if the user is authenticated. And if the user is authenticated, then I should be showing this. So it should be something like this. So let's start with a fragment. So basically something like this. This is a React element that we can use for wrapping up things, because remember in React you always have to return only one thing. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to check if there is a user. Okay, so basically what I want is something like this. If there is a user, then what I want to show is like maybe, what were you doing? Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yes, I like that idea. So good work. Thank you, Copilot. Let me check that everything is in order. So I want to actually show the user. So I can go and say something like welcome user, and then the logout button, which can be done with something like like this, and then I guess I can do welcome user, and then we can do the logout. Okay, so the problem is that that user doesn't exist, and if the user is not connected, then I do that. So the way I can get the user is that I need to check on the backend. So I'm going to create an effect from React, and then I'm going to do a use effect, right? Remember, the use effect takes as a parameter a function, and that function also has like a it's going to have like two parameters. The use effect has two parameters. The first one is a function that is the actual effect, and the second one are the dependencies. And if we leave it like empty, it means that it's only going to be run once. And then what I want to do in there is that let me go and create an asynchronous function that is going to be like get user or something like that. I mean, Copilot was already suggesting that, so let's go and try to do that. So I can do, yeah, basically that's pretty much what I want to do. Okay, so and then in order for me to use that, so what's that? Why did you do that? I think I don't need that passport. So, and then basically I have that fetch user, and I just want to run that fetch user. Okay. And then as you can see, I do need to come up with the user. Good work, Copilot. And then that's going to do that. And I need to import it in here. So So Copilot helped us there. So basically, I'm creating a state variable that has the user. That is the one that we're showing here. I'm going to try to connect to the backend and then await a response. If there is an error, like with this one, I want to set the error as null, and then I can actually go and show an error in my application. So I can do that. The way I actually ended up implementing that is that I have this error context that it's in the main, and then I can create my beautiful. It's not like that. That's from Copilot. So basically, I do unuse context, and then I'm going to be using the context, that is the error context that is in my main, and that gives me this function. And basically, if I get an error in there, like for instance, I can get an error that is not the 200 that I'm expecting, then, or I think I can go and say it's even this one, right? I think I can do that one as well. So basically, what I want to do is that I want to say that I have an error getting the current user, and then just return this one, and just that returning there is valid. So actually, let's go and say like I'm returning here, like empty return. Yes, perfect. And then you can do this one, and then yeah, let's do it like that. This one in here is complaining because it doesn't have set error. I think I don't like that much, but let's put it in there just for it. Like in any case, set error, it shouldn't be changing that much. So that's for that. So let's see if that works. And then this is giving me an error in here. So hopefully we can see what are the errors. Login link doesn't provide a name import that is called login link. So actually let's do the name export. And then we're doing that. Now we have the login, and then I can go in there and then log in. And as you can see there, it doesn't work. So let's go and take a look at what this one is saying here. We are doing the password, API login, and then I'm saying what is the API user. I am saying get, oh yes, I trusted Copilot too much. Get user, it's how I called my endpoint. So if we go in here, yes, API / get user. So let me go back here in my login link. So I can do that again. Let's try once more time, and then again doesn't work. But in this case, it's getting the user, and it should be, oh, there we go. So it should be doing this one, and then I guess the response, okay. It's not getting the current user, so actually we should how am I sending that in here? So if I go into my route here, so I'm returning the user. So I guess let's call it username right away, and then the login link, that is the same one that we're getting in here. So let's put this one in here. So get user got, and then what is the one that we got? Okay. So let's try that again once more. All of those things have to align, and then yes, welcome and log out. Okay. So the login link, we are getting that like that. So we can put all of that together so it doesn't look like an extra thing, and then get rid of that. Perfect. So I have that, and then you can see it is actually persisting that. That's cool. And then I can log out that, and then, oh, interesting. So the final one will be to do the logout, but I'm going to continue that in a minute. In any case, the key in here is that every time you want to check if the user is authenticated or not, then basically you can use something like this, that it's actually going to be getting what is the current user and return that in React. So that is one of the keys of the most important things. The next things that we need to work after this, it's how to actually do the validation properly here in the strategy. So the key here is just to check the database and see if the user exists. And then we also need to have like sign up and sign out. Okay, so in the previous video, we made it all the way to having a sign-in form. As we see in here, basically we're working on adding Passport to a React application using Express and Byte and Mongo and a lot of other stuff. So as we can see here, the point we have it now is that we can have the server running in here, and then I can log in, and you can see that now we have this part. So let's continue from there. And as we can see, like one of the next steps, it's adding a sign out. This should be quite straightforward. We can just add this new route to our out router. Let's put it right here so it can be in nice order. And basically what this one does is that whenever the user says that he wants to log out, and since this is going to be a backend endpoint, we're going to put it into the /API, and then we do the logout, and if there is an error, we send the error to the next element, and if not, we just redirect to / which I hope, I wonder this redirect if it will work, but let's give it a try. And then after doing that, that should be it. And then what we need to do is that to add like a to do something that when we click on that like logout, it triggers this. So in this case, we have our login link. And we were adding this logout in here. So I guess, okay, so this is going to be interesting because this will be to send it to a logout API in React Router. But what we want is just to send a message to the backend. So in that case, we need to do is a fetch with a post method. So I guess what we can do in here is to maybe replace this with a button or a link, and let's try with a button. And let's try as we were doing before. So it will be this one, and then we can say welcome user, and then we can offer the logout in here. We can have this one, and instead of having the two, what we are going to do in here is that on click, we are going to say on logout, okay? Which is going to be a method on logout, and then I mean we can receive in here the event, although I don't think I'm going to use it, so actually let's remove it. And what we should do, yes, that's a good one, Copilot. So basically we should do the API logout. I don't like that they are using the response, so let's do wait this one. And then we can make the synchronous. I think we can do that. I don't need this one in here. Basically, we can do this one in here, and we can try. No, I like that. So we can try I wonder if that should fail. No, it shouldn't. So basically what we can do is that if there is an error, then we can say error logging out. And if not, then we can do this one. And then yes, hopefully we don't get this one. Otherwise we can put that into a try catch. And then I can just do the set user like this, and this should log out in here. I like it. So let's go and try it, see if it works. Maybe I'm missing something else, but we'll see. So basically we have this, and then I can log in, and then that gets me in. And if I click on that, now I'm logged out. Perfect. So the other thing is that you can also, I forgot to do that in the previous one, but let's say, for instance, like here in my Photos app, I can go and say, that maybe we only show the photos if we are logged in. Okay, so actually let's get rid of this. So in the photos gallery, which is this one in here, basically what we can say is, I wonder, I could get the user from here. It would be nice to have the user as context variable, actually, instead of getting it from here. So I can actually share that across the whole application. So for the moment, I'm not going to complicate that. Maybe I do it at the end, but for the moment, let's keep it just like this. Okay. But, oh yes, this is the other thing. The other thing I think will be nice is that instead of putting that as a context variable, I could, So I could take all of this. And then put it as, let's say, user, set user. And then we can also get, the other one was the on logout. And I can get that from use get user. And this use get user could be a function that is this one, if I'm not mistaken. And basically what we are doing in here is that we are creating a custom hook. And the whole idea of this one is that I can return the user, the set user, and the on logout. So basically I can just put this, and then I could just take this out. Let's see how the refactor works in here. Move to a new file, and then that new file, how did you name the new file? Use get user. Good, perfect. So, but that should be into a new folder that I'm going to call hooks. And then I can send that one into the hooks as in here. And basically this is going to be my hook. Basically is this function. And oh, I like it that it's using the context even. So it makes it very nice. So now in this one, I can do this. If I need the set user, then I can pass it in there. It seems like I don't even need it. It seems like maybe I shouldn't be returning that set user. So I can just handle that internally. And then I could use get user. And then actually the thing I was thinking that is to do it on the photos, like just to get in here, that I could just do user, and then yeah, I guess just the user could be fine. And then I can go do this, and basically, I guess I should do that, and then I can import the user from my hooks. If I could do something like, if we have the user, then we do all of this, and if not, then we can put like a div or something that says not login or something like that. I like that, and then of course I made a mistake. So okay, so I probably need to have like a fragment or something to cover all of that. That's kind of looking good. And then I have the base page that should be here. That was the problem. So I'm not logged in. If I log in, then I get to see everything. And then when I log out, this one is not working. So probably the other thing I can do is that I can make this one depend on the user. So if I do that, then it does that. And if I log out, let me refresh. If I log in, I do that. If I log out, still not. True. Oh, yes, because the problem is that the user, but that should be the same one. And then the thing is that this user is probably a different state variable. So when I do this, no, not that one. So when I do this one, that is creating this one. I think there's also, yeah, I'm going to leave that bug for the moment. Let me try to think how to fix it. Like if I could share this one as well, or so I could, so this one, so it's when it's logging out, it does this one, but it's not console log, logging out, and then let's put that in there just for validation, and then when I log out, this is logging out. It changes the one on the top and not the other one. It will be interesting to have something that listens to that. Yeah, the other thing I could do on the logout is that apart from doing this is redirecting. Let me try that. So I have so many things open. So let me close some of these. So we don't leave that bug in there. React router redirect. There we go. And then we can just do a redirect to another page. Will that work? Oh, it's actually a function. Oh, so generative AI was lying to me. So in that case, I'm going to do this one. And what we are going to do here is that we are going to redirect to slash, I guess. And then we might need to have like a redirecting here, redirect to, and if nothing is passed, then we can do that. Yeah, I like that idea. Let's see, if we do that, hopefully when we log out, we are going to do a redirect, which should get the new user. Damn it. So let me try that here. So we are doing this, logging out, redirecting. Should be printing this. login, blah, blah. And then when I log out, logging out, redirecting, and that didn't do the trick. I wonder if maybe the logout is not working. So let me log in, I do that, and then I refresh, yes. So the logout seems to be working. Am I not printing anything when logging out? Sure, I do that, and then I log out. Yes, it does this one, but it's returning a 302. That worries me a little bit. So this one, oh yes, it's a 302 because it's redirecting. Yeah, I think this redirecting here is not really working. So let me try sending that here, registration that says username no, logged out. And then, okay, well, it's true. So let's see if that changes anything. So if we do this, we get in, and if we do this, it's doing that. And then this returned the 200, but that didn't do the trick. I think I might be missing something else in there, but for the moment, let me see if I let me redirect into this one. I wonder if that will do anything. I want to check if it is actually redirecting. So I can log in, and when I log out, yeah, it is not redirecting. So I am supposed to wait, get user, redirect, because you can control response to loaders and action. You can use redirect direct to another route. Shortcut to response, React router. It's recommended redirect. This one, wait, get user. Should I wait for that? Shouldn't be necessary. From loaders. That's what the so maybe that is the other one. We'll navigate to a new location, but that is in JSX. Very not redirect. It's interesting. Am I missing something here? So this is in a loader because you can throw responses in loaders. Yes. Router provider. Error, await, navigate, route. Oops. Fetch utilities, that's the one I'm looking. Redirect document. I could create a link and navigate to that, but shouldn't be necessary. That's interesting. I'm missing something. So I'm going to go back to this later. If that's not working, that was weird. So if I do this, still not working, and it should be redirecting. Redirect, yes. Okay, good. So for the moment, we are having that problem. It should be rendering this. Maybe I need to have that with a context, but let's go and handle the other problems with logging for the moment. So now that we have that, the next thing is creating the users. And actually, before that, we should check if the user that we are getting is the proper one. Or actually, let's go and do this full thing because this could be useful. So the next thing we need is we need a page so we can do the sign up. So for the sign up, we're going to have a form that is very similar to the one we have for the login. And then, so basically we can just go and create something like this. And then, or even, we could make this like this, sign up. And then just to be lazy, let's go and say secondary. And then instead of repeating that, and then what we do in here is that this is type button. And then on click, we are going to say on sign up. And when we do that, we are going to get a little bit into trouble, but let's see if we can make it work. So we are going to say on sign up, and then we are going to be doing a fetch of /API sign up, and then the method is post. I like that, but you're also missing other stuff. Like for instance, we should, this is on sign up of this event. Actually, like this is going to be like an interesting. So I want to access this form so I can use like the form data as we have done in other situations, right? So the way that we can do that is that I need to create a reference for this one. So we can do that with import use ref, which is a hook from React. And basically what this thing allows us to do is to go and say login form ref. Basically the way we use it is that we create a reference like this, and then we tie that reference to the form like that. And then having done that, when we are signing up, then we can go the form data in here with something like that. That's good, Copilot. So basically I just create a form with the current version, the current link of that reference. And then we can go and put it here, console log, sign up from data, and then let's go and say form data, and then I need to send that form data in here. So let's search for fetch. And then I think it's this one, the one that has the example I like. So basically we are going to say what type of body we are going to send. In this case, we have application JSON. Definitely we don't want to send it like this. And then in the body, we can send that. But since what I have is the form data, so I'm going to send the form data in here. I want to show the form data in here just for debugging purposes. And then I'm going to do my typical res and wait for this one. This is going to be asynchronous. What's your problem? What? Unknown word. What? Did you need me to do that? That would be weird. Okay, good. And then once I do that, this closes this, that closes that. We press OK, this is signing up. And then, so if this is okay, then we can, basically the idea will be to, let's go and see how we create that. For the moment, let's go and leave this in here, console log. That's good, perfect. And then If not, basically we can just show an error or something. So for the errors, I think the latest ones that I use for that, or so we are in the login page. So in this case, we want to get import error context. This is from the main, good work Copilot, and then I can get my error, use context this, and this can be import. That seems like a potential custom hook that will be always doing like this import and that. So that way I can only use one input instead of two. In this moment I have that, so I have set error, and then you can show like at least that in here. Sign up success, that's good, Copilot. And if not, then actually let's do it the other way around. If not, then sign up fail, and then set error, sign up fail. We shouldn't clap. Then we do this, and then we return in here, and then we do this. So probably sign up success, please log in. So basically, if we create the user properly, then we can then just ask the user to log in, which is, I actually kind of hate that, but I wonder if we are going to need to do that. Okay. So now that we have this, so hopefully the whole idea is this secondary button that we have in here should be helping us. There we go. So we have that one. Let's go and create this into, it shouldn't be a checkbox. Why do you need checkbox? Like that's better. And then I should do a div in here, and then what? Why don't you? Oh yeah, because I have this width. Going to remove that from that. Going to remove that from that. Good. The only thing is that, can I do like this? Then there we go. And then that's the padding. I like the padding, and then about border of 2 maybe. I think is that these two, okay. Doesn't this one does a border in there? We can search for that on Bootstrap. So two, that will be maybe on utilities. Display, flex options, padding options, visibility, margin, spacing, utilities. So margin bottom, margin and padding. Oh, so I guess it's margin. Yes, it's not border, it's margin. That's why it wasn't working. B is for bottom. Good, perfect. So what about that? Oh, it doesn't like that. Can it be that? So what is that W then? That's an interesting one. Should be something with the width or something. Okay, let's not get stuck on that. And so we have that, and then the problem is that, yes. So let's remove this for the moment and leave it like that. Okay, good, perfect. So I have that. And then the thing is that if I go and I create this user and that, and I sign up, then it tries to sign up, and then gets me this, and then let's go and see what we got. So in here, in the API sign up, this is what we were getting. So let's go and take a look at what we got in there. So probably is because of the way that we are encoding the information. So what we are going to do in here is that we are going to say that we were doing the logout, and I want to get the body of this and see how things are encoded. So I can send that, and then we are getting a is not a valid JSON. Yes, because it's trying to send that as a JSON file. So I think I have that. So let's try. Fetch form data encoded. Is it your? Let's try that, but probably it's not that. Application content type HTML or HTTP. Content type form data. So yes, so this is documentation from Mozilla, and then we can have this multi-part form data. Will it be that one? Multi-part form data, that seems legit. So actually, let's try that. So in the way that we are sending the data from the React element, we have that in the login page, right? So in here, instead of sending application JSON, so I'm going to say form data. I wonder if that will work. Not completely sure, but let's give it a try. And then I sign up, and then this is the post API sign up. Let me make sure that that one exists in here. It does exist. And then I am doing this one, and it's sending a 404. Oh yes, so this is for the logged out. Yeah, apologies, I forgot to create it. So basically, I think they did say here, yes, that we should have, this is the one that we should have, something like this. So I forgot to create that one, so that is login, and then we can have this one, and this is the one where I want to do the sign up, and very important, we want to have that in there. I wonder if I can send that as JSON. So let's see. So if I do that, then random byte is not a function. Am I using crypto here? So let's go and say import crypto from crypto. So I can do that, I can do that, and then password argument must be of type string. So we are doing sign up and we didn't get it in there. So let me try to see if I can send that, because I don't want to have to go and convert it into a JSON, which will be the alternative. So let me try this one, although we are not encoding the URL, so that shouldn't work, but let's still give it a try. So yeah, look at that. So it's kind of coming in there, but that's not exactly. So let's try the other one that it's content type, and then let's go and say yes, multi-part form data, which is the one we found on MDN. Still nothing, and let's see how this one got it. Didn't get anything in there. I could try using the JSON. I think I'm going to have to go back to the JSON one. Oh yes, this is probably because this is just a file. I wonder hero value to prevent the original media type. Regional media type. List into media type. Wikipedia list of my types. So what we have here is application. So actually you can see the whole list. And sorry, I'm obsessing with that one. So let's see if we can make it work. So there is the JSON, and then let me go and search for the form multi-part form data. So we don't have one in the application. Interesting. Let me see if I can find that. Fetch post form data. Post form data with fetch API. Do I need to do that? So let's see. Hormones equation. I know I can do it with method post. Yes. First provides a way to construct. This is running some fun. You are locking inside file. There is no way to send the file. Let's send data. Blah blah blah. If you want to send data as a blah blah blah, you will either have to form data. So what is the problem of doing that? So that's what I was trying. So I was trying with the multi-part. Yeah, I don't want to have to do that. Oh, I could do that. Search patterns. That's the margin. Content type there. Let's see the content. Oh, look at that. Okay, so let's not set the header. I can try that. So let's not change the header. I like that answer. And let's try that here. Do this, and then that gets me that. Come on. Didn't get anything. Post, sign up form. And then I got the form data. What should I do? What should I do? So I guess, yeah, let me try just play it safe and send it with as a JSON object, I guess. So for that, I think I can let's close all of this. New form data. For use. On submit, send to this. And then I do send anonymously. That should work. I have the method post. I have the body. It's the new form data. From that, yeah, let me give it another try. I think it will be nicer if we can make it work like this. If it is, it should come in the body though. So let me just close this, do that again, and then this, and that. Still, I'm not getting anything. So when I send it like that, with nothing in there, yeah, this is trying to get it in there. Yeah, damn it. So I'm going to try just sending it using application JSON. Okay, so in that case, let's go back and do this. And I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to send it in here. And then basically, I think I notice that this is, so actually let me go and put this in here so I can play with it. And then I do that, choo, choo. And then I can stop in there. As you notice, I just added a debugger. And by that, I can stop and play with the elements in there. So I do have my form data. And I think I noticed that I have some entries. And then I can do an object from entries. Oops. Can do an object from entries from this one. What's the problem? Oops, too many froms. Object from entries. Come on. What's the problem now? Oh, I see. Form data. Data dot entries. That one works. And then I can do object from entries. Why do you enter immediately? Like this. Will that work? Yes. And then I can do JSON dot stringify of this one. So basically, this is going to convert my stuff into a JSON object, as we can see in there. And then now I can get rid of this debugger. And to continue execution on this one, restart, blah, blah, sign up. And then I come in here. And then good, perfect. So I got to a different error. So I was doing the post sign up. Didn't I? I wonder if I was making another mistake in there. Shouldn't it be showing me? But yes, like at the very least, I have the password, it seems so. So let me go into this one. And then I was printing this sign up in there. I wonder if it was too small. So let's try doing that. I can see it in here. So now you can see that we got all of that information. And then here is where it comes the interesting thing. So basically, as you see, this one, it's supposed to be the code that inserts the user into the database, okay? So that is the part where we just need to put that directly into the database, and we can do that with Mongo. So in this case, it will be MyDB, insert user, and then I can just provide username, will be request body username, and the password will be or this could be like my hashed password. And by the way, let's go and see what is the code that they had before, so I can see exactly what they inserted. I should have read that before. So we insert the salt, and we are getting that salt that is this one in here. Okay, good, perfect. So, and the hash password. Okay, so in this case, we can do insert the username. The hash password will be, I should have read that better. So basically, they are inserting the hash password straight into it. So no Copilot, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do the toString thingy, and then the salt. To just store it as well, like that. So this will be the salt, and then I have the username in here, and this will be inserted in the database. And for that, I have here my database, and I just need to go into my Mongo database, and then I can do my DB insert user, and then basically we can do something very similar to this. And what I'm going to be doing in there is that I get my client. This is going to be insert user. And then I am going to be getting in there, I think we say insert name, hash, password, and salt. Let me try that so I can be consistent with the other one, although I have to be consistent. Oh yeah, so I haven't even done it in here, so that's fine. So in this case, we can use, good. So I can just provide the hash password and then the salt. So with that, I actually don't even need to do this, because like if the attribute is the same name of the value, then you can just pass it. And then going back to my DB, I can have those three elements, and then I'm going to be saying what is going to be the username. Probably not print all the other ones. I should be getting rid of that in a minute. So I am going to get the collection users, and then basically in here I'm going to insert one, and the one that I'm going to be inserting probably should be, let's leave it like this, insert one that is going to be this one. I don't need that, and then I think I don't need that either. This should be just the user, and username. Actually, I think I can print the hash password. No, it's still dangerous. I'd rather not. Okay, so I'm going to await response of this. I'm going to await that and then just return the response, I guess. And if you want to see, basically, you can just search for node Mongo. And when we do that, we don't want generative AI. So use examples, insert operations, insert a document. So excuse me, we should be doing insert one, we get a result, and then the document was inserted with the result inserted ID. Okay. So by the way, if we do need to have the ID, like for some reason, then we can return that. So once we have that here in the authentication, so we can do, so I'd rather do this with promises. I wonder if this one can be done with promises as well. Crypto PBK. Oh, there is a sync version. PBKDF2. No, so that's in here. Oh, it's directly in Node.js. So PBK TF2 Chan salt password. So there is a synchronous version. I wonder if you don't want to do the other one, then you can just do that. Let's keep it just like this. So insert response equals, wait, this one. So I'm going to be inserting that in there. And then if, oh, I like that. In this case, signed up. And then should I return the ID? I'm not sure. Let me print it in here. Inserted, and then insert response. So we can actually check if print was successful. So, okay. So if I do this, then that comes in here. And then mine cannot find module, my MongoDB. my MongoDB.js. So where we were doing that, I think it was in here. Is in the routes, my MongoDB JS, and then come here, start creating. That's still getting danger, and then still cannot find it. That's weird. My MongoDB. Seems like I am getting too tired. So let's try this one in here. We have to do the whole thing. That's right. That's good. Perfect. So it seems like now I was able to sign in. So we can actually check on Mongo if we created that one. So this is the photo sharing, and then we can see here the users, and then we can see that we have the username and the password. Okay. So after doing that, then we want to log in. But in this moment, it doesn't really matter what password I send, it always logs in.